Welcome to the Calm Analytics channel. I'm Boris Tiesenghausen. May 17th, here are the main news stories at this moment. The largest attack in history on Moscow and the Moscow region. Ukraine struck energy facilities, defense industry enterprises, and Sheremetyevo airport was also hit. Targets included the Elma Technopark in Zelenograd, an enterprise in the electronics and optical industry that works for the Russian defense industry. The Solnekhnogorsk oil loading station in the village of Durikino, a major facility for storing and transferring petroleum products, and Sheremetyevo airport were also targeted. In addition, a strike was carried out on the Raduga Design Bureau in Dubna, a developer of cruise missiles, just for the record. And the cherry on top, or rather the giant watermelon on the cake, I'd say. The Moscow oil refinery in Kapotnya was attacked. This is just wild. Finally, this day has come. It's just crazy. The air defense hit a neighboring building. I've never been this scared in my life. I'm shaking all over. These are residents of Moscow and the Moscow region sharing their impressions of the drone raid. Let's watch a video here. A lady from Moscow or the Moscow region talks about her experience. And see how the Russian air defense struck a neighboring building. Take a look.
Просто пиздец. Попали, короче, ПВО попало в соседний дом, дом напротив. Сейчас мысли соберу в порядок. Соседний ЖК, в 11-й дом, а он находится напротив, прям через дорогу от Никитиного дома.
This is how it happens. Well, as I've said many times before, Muscovites should be more afraid of their own air defense systems than of Ukrainian drones, which are targeting strictly military objectives. There will be a lot of videos today, a lot of comments from Muscovites, so as they say, stay tuned. But now, about the air defense. Remember when they first started hauling those Panzer systems onto the rooftops of buildings in Moscow, onto ministry buildings? Even then, many people were asking, what if the Panzer starts firing toward residential neighborhoods? Where will the debris fall, and where will the rocket boosters from those missiles fly? Where do you think they will go? Well, and here apparently it's the air defense again. Not just firing in the direction of residential buildings, but directly at them. By the way, Russian military can also use electronic warfare to bring down a drone right onto a residential building. They're masters at that too. They'll shoot them down anywhere as long as they don't reach the Botox grandpa in the Kremlin. But the drones didn't make it. But the main takeaway here is something else. Ukrainian drones successfully broke through all the air defense rings and reached Moscow. Now there will be an analysis of how the Russian air defense system worked, and next time it will be even tougher. Muscovites, open your windows and doors. The war has come right to your home. Actually, this was to be expected. By the way, friends, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Subscribing is important for the channel's promotion. We're fighting Putin's propaganda here, so let's do it together. Be sure to subscribe. Now, as for where the drones actually hit, today, key targets in Moscow and the Moscow region have been struck. The first strike hit the Solnekhnogorsk oil pumping station in the village of Durikino. Just to put it in perspective, that's only 16 kilometers from Sheremetyevo airport and 40 kilometers from the very center of Moscow, from the Kremlin. This facility is a station that provides oil transfer between regions and maintains pressure in the pipelines. Let's watch the video and see how this station is burning. Beautiful. And finally, the Moscow oil refinery was also hit, one of the largest and most important oil refineries in Russia. It's located in the Kapotnya district, right in Moscow. In other words, it's part of the Gazprom Neft structure, with a processing capacity of 12 million tons of oil per year. This plant is among the top 10 largest in Russia, and supplies 40% of the needs of the Moscow region, meaning Moscow and the surrounding area. If the plant shuts down, people in Moscow and the Moscow region will be left without gasoline and diesel. Well, it's nothing terrible. I think that's not the worst thing that's going to happen to them in the near future. For the Russian Federation, this is a critically important facility, not only from an economic standpoint, but also from a logistical one. In other words, the capital's functioning depends directly on this refinery. Well, now two apps can share its experience. If Ukrainian drones have come once, it means they'll come a second, third, and fourth time. A drone also hit Angstrom Research and Production Association, which is one of Russia's key microelectronics enterprises located in Zelenograd. Zelenograd, in general, is considered the center of Russian microelectronics. So even if the damage there is limited, the very fact of a strike on such a facility is extremely painful for the Russian military-industrial complex. And here, we're not talking about a single drone breakthrough anymore, but about a systematic overload of the entire network. The air defense of Moscow and the Moscow region. The Moscow region is protected by the densest and most layered air defense system in Russia. S-300, S-400 Panzer systems, radars, aviation, mobile groups, and a separate ring around Moscow. Recently, air defense systems from all over Russia have been redeployed there as well. As we can see, our drones still manage to break through. But it feels like now they will take whatever air defense systems are left from all over Russia and pull them to Moscow after such a strike. I recently showed you a video where Solovyov, that little ghoul of a propagandist, justified in his program the move that all air defense should go to Moscow because according to Solovyov there are priority targets. So everyone outside the MCAD, hang in there, but you'll have to manage without air defense somehow. And in general, there on Patriarch's Ponds, probably in the Kremlin or somewhere else, they're asking themselves, is there even life outside the MKAD? By the way, judging by the footage I saw today, Muscovites got acquainted for the first time with the Bars drone missile. And as for what people will start writing now, you'll answer for everything. You never stopped bombing us. You never stopped bombing us. Is this for you? Now in Moscow, you have to look for the nearest metro station to take shelter. You have to think about how to live, how many drones will come next time. And maybe not just drones, maybe missiles will come too. Well, Ukraine is changing the course of this war, breaking the Russians' plans. They stopped the spring offensive. Now we see we are attacking Moscow, attacking successfully. In every episode, we have an important fundraiser for the defense forces of Ukraine. Today, we are continuing a major fundraiser for a vehicle for the Active Operations Unit of the Main Intelligence Directorate of Ukraine, the GUR. The unit is called FERRATA. They are the best of the best. They specialize in multi-level tasks. In addition to their sabotage and assault component FERRATA, they are also professionals in the use of drones, including long-range drones and maritime drones. The fighters have recorded a video message for you. Please take a look.
Підрозділ активних дій гурмо «ФЕРРАТА» дякую Борису Тізенгаузену та його підписникам за допомогу, яку ви надаєте Збройним силам. І просить вас про підтримку наших зборів на автомобілі. Автомобілі – це важливо на фронті, це евакуація, це логістична підтримка наших підрозділів, це підвоз БК, провізії та дронів нашим хлопцям, які стримують ворога на фронті. Просимо вас підтримати наші збори. Цінуємо вашу підтримку і допомогу. Слава Україні! Героям слава!
Let's help the GUR fighters. The link to donate is in the description of this video. There are Mono and PayPal options for those who want to help from abroad. And as for the FERRAT fighters, they will definitely stir things up in the air, on land, and on water. For those occupier ghouls. And there's a QR code in the corner for those watching on another channel. It always leads to the fundraiser. In every episode, I want to say a huge thank you to you from myself and from the hundreds of fighters you've already helped. And there's another little surprise. Not so long ago, together, we completed a fundraiser for the 429th Separate Achilles Brigade. And today, the fighters sent me this video. Please take a look.
Бажаю здоров'я! На зв'язку 429-та окрема бригада «Ахілес». Дякуємо підписникам каналу Бориса Тизенгаузена за допомогу в закритті збору на інфраструктуру наземних роботизованих комплексів. Сьогодні НРК – це вже не майбутнє, а невід'ємна частина бойової логістики. Роботизована техніка працює там, де занадто небезпечно для людей. Роботи доставляють боєприпаси, техніку, воду та продукти на передову та евакуюють наших поранених. Ваш внесок – це технологічна перевага над окупантом. Дякуємо за довіру та підтримку. Разом до перемоги!
This is a thank you to you, friends. You are simply incredible. But meanwhile, Ukraine is improving its strike technologies every single day. Today, I came across something truly amazing. I found it A video showing how a Ukrainian drone struck targets in occupied Crimea with rocket projectiles. Watch this video.
Повітряна тривога, лети до Таганрога, дістань до Волгограда, Саратов потруси, нехай гримить в Тамбові, Рязані та Ростові, як до Москви дістанешся, то нахуй рознеси. Дехто каже, що це гріх і так не треба, гнів та розпач можуть карму зіпсувати. Бачу сльози, чути стогін аж до неба, за це все к***ви мають поздихать. Повітряна тривога, лети до Таганрога, влупи як слід вороніж і Курськом закуси, є Лавову поштрикай, і Новгород великий, як до Москви дістанешся, то нахуй рознеси.
What used to be seen only in science fiction movies is now being designed and created by Ukraine's best engineers. And today, not only Moscow and the Moscow region were attacked at night, but also occupied Crimea and dozens of other regions within the Russian Federation. So that's not all. Today, the armed forces of Ukraine struck a key center for storing and launching operational tactical missiles and strike drones on the Arabat Spit in Crimea. Let's take a look at how it happened. Beautiful. And a bit more about the attack on Moscow and the Moscow region. Even the Russian authorities themselves admitted that this was the most massive attack. Well, and this confirms the point that things will only get worse for Russians from here on out. The next attack will be even more massive, then even more massive after that, and so on, escalating each time. Moreover, air defense systems are being knocked out both in Moscow and in the Moscow region at the same time. Ukraine has the capability to do this. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported that Russia was attacked by 556 drones last night, and over the course of the day, the Russian Ministry of Defense reports that 1,054 Ukrainian drones struck the Russian Federation, and the Russians also claimed that they shot down Flamingo and Neptune missiles last night. 1,054 drones in a single day. This is very serious. It is impossible to cover the vast territory of the Russian Federation with air defense systems, which means that everything within a 2,000-kilometer radius from the border with Ukraine will burn. Well, maybe even farther. And now, the main question I want to ask Muscovites. So, how did turning off mobile internet help you there? And today, I came across some comments from Muscovites. I specifically prepared them for you, so make yourselves comfortable. I've cut out all the swearing, so you can even invite your kids to watch. So, here are the comments from Muscovites. I woke up and started reading the news. It's terrible. It's really scary to live like this. Please aim at Putin, not at the people. Yes, but by the way, the missiles at Ukraine aren't launched personally by Putin. Just saying. People from Moscow, does anyone know what's making such a loud noise? I'm near the MCAD, I live right next to it, and something is making a really loud noise. I just woke up in Khimki and I'm panicking. I can't calm down. I'm just reading it as it is. 3 loud bangs, then a bit of silence. Next. I'm in Khimki, drones are flying overhead, a lot of them flying right above us. In Stupino at 3 in the morning, I jumped on my bed from the noise. Near Metino, it's also making a lot of noise. Now I can't fall asleep anymore. Oh no, I can't sleep. What a disaster. I woke up from the sound when it flew over the houses. Just like, let me just read it as it is. Just like right past the windows. Then there was an explosion not far away. Then I heard a few more explosions. Next, I've been shaking for 20 minutes already, and my heart too, I can't calm down. Yes. Has that moment really come? How are things in Moscow? Haven't you choked on Donbass yet? You know what's most interesting? A recent Levada Center poll showed that in Moscow there is the highest percentage of people, well, individuals, who support the continuation of the war. Well, here it is, continuing, only now it's coming straight to you. Well, I know I haven't read enough comments to you yet, you were just getting into it. This honey should flow a little longer, so let's go on a bit more. We're still outside, they've been flying since 3:30 in the morning. People in Dolgoprodny woke up, it's scary, it's terrible. Yeah, it's chaos here in Khimki. The thunder is no joke. It's been shaking for the second hour now. I just can't calm down. I just can't. I woke up from the sound of an explosion, but at first I thought I was dreaming, or maybe it was just something crashing at the construction site in the neighboring yard, which happens often. But then a drone flew by very low. About 5 minutes later, there was another one, and this is at VDNKH. Muscovites, don't worry. You'll be liberated soon. You know, I read the posts of frightened Muscovites and people from the region, and it's terrifying. And it's terrifying because you Muscovites write without much detail, not very vividly. Where are all the emotions? Where? The details? All of us here in Ukraine are reading. We would really like you to convey everything with all the emotions, with details. By the way, don't forget about the coordinates either. Try to avoid swearing. We're showing this to kids here too, after all. But, there are comments like this as well. I specifically singled this one out. Korolev, Moscow region. Woke up from a very loud noise. Sounds like an airplane. And then my sleepy brain realizes that it's a drone. It flew away, got farther, and then I heard a crash. Apparently, it was shot down. No sirens, no alerts, nothing. I wasn't scared because my half-asleep brain didn't realize what was happening. I remembered Bakhmut, Odessa, Bucha. Unfortunately, it's all to be expected. I'm still waiting for that bald bunker rat to die. So here, this person even wrote where they're from. In other words, a completely real person. So there are comments like this too. This morning, the commander of the drone forces with the call sign Magyar published, first of all, a photo of a drone wing with the words, "Moscow never sleeps," written on it. I think that from today it definitely won't be sleeping anymore. And again, he warned Lukashenko and reminded him that there will be consequences for helping the Russians. Atata, it will be very bad. Apparently, in the near future, if Belarus does not stop helping the Russians direct Shaheds at Ukraine, there will be a tough response. And here is what the advisor to the Ukrainian Minister of Defense wrote. At the end of winter, we stopped the operation of Shahed control points from the territory of the Republic of Belarus. Since then, we have not recorded any active attempts to restore the operation of these points. But during the combined attack on May 13th, we again detected the operation of radio modems on board drones over our territory near the borders of the Republic of Belarus. The distance to the border with Russia is about 500 kilometers, so direct control is impossible. The distance to the nearest Shahed with a modem also rules out the possibility of radio communication via relay. Such a network group. I suspect the repeated operation of a Shahed radio control point from the territory of the Republic of Belarus, but this time deeper inside the country. For now, these are isolated cases. The defense forces of Ukraine are keeping this issue under control. We never take any action without being 100% certain. So, this is far from the first specialist to say that the mustachioed chips. Apparently, he's back at it again, pretending to be a clueless collective farmer, acting as if he doesn't hear any warnings. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Another piece of news. Estonia has called to abandon negotiations with Russia. Russia is in a precarious position, so it is necessary to keep pressuring it with sanctions rather than stepping up negotiations, said Estonian Foreign Minister Margus Tsahkna. Let me quote, "Now is not the time for talks or negotiations. Now is the time to put pressure on Russia," he said yesterday on the sidelines of a conference dedicated to foreign policy and security issues. Well, I just love Estonia, not only because some of my ancestors are from there, but also because, as a neighbor of the Russian Federation, they understand the threats and still continue to make the right, clear, and tough statements. And in general, I've noticed that almost all of Russia's neighbors understand the threat and don't play this sickly sweet, disgusting diplomacy game. Pressure, pressure, and more pressure. A huge thank you to everyone who helps Ukraine, and warm greetings to my small homeland Estonia. Residents of the Moscow region, do you know what they complained about today? About the fact that there were no warning system signals. In other words, complaints were being sent about the fact that there were neither sirens nor SMS alerts in Khimki, Maitishi, Zelenograd, and many other localities. In addition, some residents of the Moscow region noted that they tried to call emergency services, but the lines were busy. And now here's the most interesting part. Some commentators suggested that the alerts weren't activated in order not to cause panic, and that's exactly how it is. After all, everyone knew and saw that drones were flying. If you could already see them from the windows, Muscovites saw them. Why wasn't the siren turned on? So that Muscovites wouldn't panic? I think they'll start turning it on soon. Just imagine how Moscow and the Moscow region will rush to take shelter. Oh, I'm sure we'll still see those scenes from the Moscow metro. Get used to it. Just get used to it. This is how Ukrainians live. For the 5th year now. Watch, get used to it. All this is ahead for you, and it will get even worse. I'll repeat. Russians, they didn't turn on the alert for you because apparently someone has everything under control. The balding rat in the bunker. Don't worry. Well, how will you take cover there? Oh well, it's nothing serious. By the way, today the drones even reached the Caspian Sea, but that's not all, as they say. A patrol ship of the Russian Federation Navy was hit in the Caspian Sea. That's quite a distance, over 1,000 kilometers, and we're talking about a border patrol ship of Project 10,410 Svetliak. It was attacked near Kaspiysk. You know what I suggest Russians do right now? For Muscovites, maybe those in the Moscow region, in Tuapse, in Perm, play that very short video where a deranged Putin is sitting there with absolutely maniacal eyes, clearly out of his mind, talking about how bored he is and how he wants some action. Keep playing. Keep playing that video before bed. When you can't sleep, just keep playing it. And here's another piece of good news. The European Union is preparing to approve the terms for granting Ukraine loans totaling 90 billion euros as soon as tomorrow. As for the first tranche, it will be split into 2 parts. And now, pay attention. First, Brussels will purchase drones worth almost 6 billion euros and transfer them to Kyiv. So get ready, Russia, get ready. And as for you, friends, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel, don't forget. And let's help the Gore fighters from the FERRATA unit. The link to the fundraiser is in the description of this video. Have a peaceful day, everyone, and glory to Ukraine.